It's Kelly with Pins and Needles Kits, and welcome to my kitchen, or I should say my husband's kitchen, because I don't cook much. I would rather be sewing and crafting than cooking in the kitchen. But we're making oven mitts and pot holders today, so we thought it was a good place to film. So we will open the box and show you what we have. We'll move those out of the way. We had so much stuff, we kind of overdid it this month, that we burst out of our box. So we sent a box and an envelope. So when you open it up, you're going to get the card with our letter, and on the back is what's in the kit. And we are partnering with the Warm Company this month and using some of their products. We have already traced out the pattern for you, so you don't have to worry about doing that. We have the instructions are all printed out for you with pictures. And then this is warm and natural batting. And then we have this is your little gift, some little sewing cookie cutters. They're so cute. So there's scissors, and let's see if I can get these out of here. There is a spool of thread and a sewing machine. How cute is that? And then we included a little sugar cookie recipe so that you can make your very own cookies. So we thought those were adorable. Put those over here. And then you got a heat erasable pen. This is by Sew Right. And we had 3 different colors. You've got a spool of Presentia thread. And then you have 3 assorted fat quarters. So you have more than enough fabric to make several different things. So we also sent some muslin. And these 2 pieces are 4 inches wide, and they are to make your bindings. And then the last thing in here is your Insulbright. Sorry. And this is for when you're wanting to insulate against heat or cold. So that's your box this month. And let me put this aside and then we will get started. Okay, so you're going to cut your fabrics out, and you'll need 2 sets, one for the front and one for the back of the oven mitt. You'll lay your pretty fabric down with the right side facing down. Then you're going to put your warm and natural down. You will then put the Insulbright on, and then the muslin, okay? And then you can pin it. I actually sprayed mine with a little bit of temporary adhesive spray just to kind of hold it all together. And then you can mark with your pen that we sent you, or chalk, or whatever it is that you like to mark with. You can mark your first line, and you can decide if you want to quilt on a diagonal, if you want to quilt straight. So this particular one I'm doing on the diagonal, and I did it 1 inch apart, okay? And this oven mitt, I actually did squares on the diagonal, so diamonds basically on the diagonal. I don't know if you can see that or not. Can you see that, Brittany? Okay. And then this one I just did straight lines all up and down, and they're about 3/4 of an inch apart. So it's really, you can quilt it however you would like to do it. So you'll quilt both stacks, and have this one already quilted. And then once you have that quilted, both of them quilted, you would turn it over, and you're going to place your pattern on here and trace around your pattern, okay? And then the instructions tell you to sew on that trace line. So I've already quilted this one, traced around it, and then I can cut out on that line or right to the outside of that line. So I'm going to go ahead and get my machine set up, and we'll do a little bit of quilting on here, and then I'll show you how to do it. It's a super easy project. Okay, so I've got my machine set up, and for some weird reason I can't find my walking foot. I don't know if your sewing room is like that or not, but so I am going to quilt without the walking foot. I will tell you that you get a much nicer finish when you use your walking foot. I've put a little guide on my foot, and it's 1 inch from the needle, so that's going to help me with the rest of my quilting. So I've lengthened my stitch a little bit, and I'm just going to sew. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but the fabric is wanting to move a little bit, and that's because we're quilting so much fabric. So like I said, walking foot, much better. Alright, so once you sew your first one, then you can then use your guide. Line up your first row of stitching with that guide that is coming out of my foot, and I'll start doing my next row. Since I did use a temporary spray adhesive, it is helping it kind of stay in place a little bit better than if I hadn't. And anyway, you keep doing this until this entire piece is quilted. Okay, so I finished quilting this second piece, and then I put the pattern on here and traced around it. Now this is a very important thing. Make sure that you have mirror images of each other, okay? Or else your oven mitt is not going to go together properly. So I have this one traced for right hand. This looks like for a left hand, but when they go together, we can use it for either one. So I've traced around it, and now I'm going to sew around it and cut it out. So you can still use your walking foot if you have your walking foot on the machine, but if not, just take that guide off, and then we're just gonna straight stitch around our tracing. Doesn't have to be exact. And I have my needle in the down position so that when I pivot, it doesn't lose its place. So next we're going to put the binding around the bottom of the oven mitt, and so you're going to cut your binding and press it in half, and then I just put it on here with my clips, lined up my cut edges, and then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I put my 1/4 inch foot on. I'm going to use my clips. I love the Wonder Clips. I always cut my binding a little bit longer than what I need. That way I can just trim off the excess when I'm finished. Alright, so once you have that sewn on, you're going to turn this to the back and you can press it. You're going to have more than enough to cover your edges, and so we're just going to top stitch this down, and I'm actually going to stitch in the ditch, which is the area where the seam is. So we're going to line this up, and I'm going to do a little back stitching, and let me pin this, or clip it I guess I should say. Alright. Let me cut off this excess here. And on the other side, there's not too much there. And so I've got it sewn down on the front and the back. So once I have the binding sewn on the bottom of each of them, then I'm going to put them right sides together, clip them together, and I'm going to sew around them with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's a super easy, really good beginner quilting project. We'll start down here. Always back stitch. And we're going to pull our clips out as we go. When you're making this, you probably want to use a size 90 needle. This is a lot of fabric to be going through. And the bigger the needle is, the easier it's going to go around this. I'm going to drop my needle and pivot. Okay, so I've got this sewn together, and then what I'm going to do is in the corner here, I'm going to cut into that almost to my stitching line. It just will make it turn a little bit easier, and then you can trim into the seam allowance on the curves, if you like. And then if you want, you can do a zigzag stitch around the edges of this to finish it off. I'm going to leave it like it is. I have that straight stitching. I think that's going to be fine. And then you'll just reach in and turn it right side out. This is not always the easiest part. There we go. And then I'll take it to your iron and press it. Clip any threads. Try to get the thumb through there. And when you're finished, this is what you have. So it's a really fun project, really easy, makes great Christmas gifts. You can make it in other fabrics and use them all year round. And I am having a hard time getting that thumb out of there. Let's see if I can do that. All right. A point turner is helpful in this part of the process. I actually use my scissors. These are really sharp though, so I'm gonna have to be kind of careful. There it goes. Uh-oh, I missed an edge. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but when I was sewing it together, I got too close. I didn't do my 1/4 inch seam allowance, so I'll have to turn this back inside out and redo that edge there, and then I'll be finished. So we also gave you instructions on how to make a regular pot holder. And so simple, easy, just cutting squares and binding the edge. It has a little pocket on it. And it's a really great, fun box, I think. We had fun putting it together. And so you're going to cut, I think these are 8 inches. Let me look. Yep. You're going to cut 3 8-inch squares, one for the back, one for the front, and then for the pocket. And your batting and your Ensel Bright and all of that. And you're going to bind the pocket, quilt everything, and just put it together and put binding around it. Super easy project to do. Okay, thanks for watching, and we hope that if you haven't already that you'll subscribe to our YouTube channel and also to Facebook. We always have lots of really good information and fun things going on our Facebook page, so thank you and have a great day.